Kill streaks are such a massive part of Call of Duty's identity, and everybody has their own favorite, but what are the best of the best? Well, today we answer that question, a really tough topic. We're going to go from COD 4 all the way through Black Ops 6, and we're going to pick out what I think is the single best kill streak in the entire game. We will start adding Black Ops 7 to a lot of these lists very, very soon since it's technically out now. Welcome to the channel, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos. Keep in mind, we're not just going to be considering which streak did the most damage. Instead, I'm going to look at all the streaks in every game and pick the one that I think got you the most bang for your buck. So we're going to do our best to find the streaks that gave you a happy medium between insanely strong and fairly priced. If that sounds fair, drop a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed. I read every single comment on every single video. Without further ado, that's kind of weird. Let me know your favorite streak in COD history in the comments, and here we go. COD 4, the airstrike. I mean, there was only 3 kill streaks in the original Modern Warfare game. Most people would agree the airstrike was the best. UAV, it was helpful, but it was relatively short. And the helicopter was also helpful, but the AI, it was pretty dependent on the map that you were playing on. The airstrike, always helpful, and would get you about 5 kills, right? It only cost you 5 kills too. No, actually, it would probably typically get you 2 to 4, right? I would say that's probably pretty fair. And it would lock down a section of the map for a few seconds, which was super valuable in objective-based modes like domination and headquarters in the game. It was a simple and super effective streak, and I would say it was always satisfying to call in. World at War has to be the dogs, the Hounds. Another game that only had 3 kill streaks, but it's another game where everyone should be in a unanimous agreement circle on which one was the best. The World at War dogs were insane. They only cost you 7 kills to earn. Think back, that's laughable now, but regularly it would get you 10 to 15 in return. That's 2x on your money, people. You call in this giant horde of pooches that would roam around the map instantly killing anybody who got in their way. And since the melee system in World at War was super janky, it was really hard to counter them if they locked onto you. Tag dogs have been a part of several Call of Duty games. I don't actually think the World at War version is overall the best iteration of the kill streak, but they were far and away the best streak in that game. Modern Warfare 2 2009, this is a hard one, the Chopper Gunner. It's really easy to pick the best streak in Modern Warfare 2 because this was the best game in COD history for kill streaks. Ultimately, I settled on the Chopper Gunner because the amount of damage it could do compared to the amount of work you had to put in to earn it. Frankly, it was ridiculous. It would cost you 11 kills, 10 with hardline, and it was super easy to get those 10 kills if you were running Predator missiles or Harrier strikes as your cheaper streaks. But once you called in the Chopper Gunner, you could easily get another 10 to 15 before it was shot down or the timer ran out, which would typically be enough to get you to your nuke. Now, the return on investment with the Modern Warfare 2 Chopper Gunner was one of the best in COD history. I had to give it this spot. Again, this was a tough pick. You could say the AC-130. Of course, we could say the nuke. I didn't really want to count that one as one. It was more between the AC-130 and the Chopper Gunner. But at the end of the day, I think the Chopper Gunner was more consistent. The AC-130 was literally a flying fortress, and you felt like such just a tank in it. I understand that, but you also had to rotate through the guns. You had to wait for reloads. The Chopper Gunner was just constant chaos put down on the enemy team. Black Ops. Oh man, the Blackbird. Most Call of Duty games will have some kind of recon kill streak that not only gives your enemy locations on your mini-map, but it also shows you in real time what direction they're facing. Makes it basically impossible for them to avoid you. Blackbird was the first version of this streak that was not only insanely strong, it was almost virtually impossible to counter and not that hard to get. It would cost you, I think, 8 kills, 7 if you used hardline. It would give you the real-time enemy locations and directions for a full 45 seconds. It was not countered by Ghost or Ghost Pro, and the only way to actually defend your team against it was with a counter spy plane, which hardly anybody was running in the original Black Ops. So for the amount of damage you could do while this streak was active, I think it's the best streak in the game. I mean, this thing was only 8 kills. It would make your entire team a bunch of Terminators for 45 seconds. And if you were playing with randos and somebody called one of these in, you were just like, yes, we're best friends. We don't know each other, but you're pretty awesome. Modern Warfare 3 2011. The Predator missile. Might be a hot take. I think the Modern Warfare 3 version of the Predator is the best in COD history. And there's a few reasons for that. You guys probably know this streak was just copy-pasted from Modern Warfare 2. But I think it's way better this time around for starters. Modern Warfare 3 was the first game that let you loop your streaks. Since the Predator missile only cost you 5 kills, you could just earn it over and over and over again in the same life. Plus, Modern Warfare 3 introduced Hardline Pro, where not only did you need one less kill to earn your streaks, but every second assist also counted as a point towards your streak, and objective captures did as well. It made the Predator missile just easy mode to get. And on top of all that, it was devastating. The blast radius was huge. It came into the battlefield way too quickly for the enemy team to get out of the way once they noticed it. I think this was the perfect example of a super powerful streak that did not break the bank and always made you feel like a boss when you called it in. Black Ops 2. I'm gonna go with the Hunter Killer drone. Another hot take, I know, but when it comes to bang for your buck, it's really hard to beat the Hunter Killer. 525 points. Super easy to get, especially in domination and hardpoint. All you had to do was toss it in the sky and let the AI do the rest of the work. The drone would find an enemy player and dive bomb them, instantly killing the target and whoever else was standing close to them. So for 525 points, you were basically guaranteeing at least one extra kill, and it wasn't uncommon for the drone to actually get 2 to 3 people at the same time with the explosion. Since the streaks in Black Ops 2 looped, you could just keep getting Hunter Killer drones over and over again. Might not have been the most iconic or devastating streak from Black Ops 2. I know the Swarm was in this game, but if you want a streak that was super easy to earn and consistently got you kills and you could set it and forget it over and over, come on. I don't think there's a better example. I love the Hunter Killer. I had it on, I think I had it on basically every class setup. Call of Duty Ghosts. What a weak menu of kill streaks. I'm going to go with the Trinity Rocket. It's hard to pick because Ghosts had hands down the worst lineup of kill streaks in COD history, but if I have to pick the best of the worst, which I do because that's the point of the video, I'm going to go with the Trinity Rocket. It wasn't that hard to earn, so you could get it several times a match. You could get 2 to 3 kills out of it relatively consistently, and since nobody was expecting people to actually run assault streaks in the game, that meant nobody was running the correct counters for it. That being said, most people were just running Specialist in this game because all the streak rewards sucked. But again, if I had to pick the best of the worst, that would be it. Advanced Warfare. System hack. I said in a recent video that I thought Advanced Warfare had some of the weakest streaks in COD history, but there were a couple standouts, and the system hack being the most obvious one. Wasn't that expensive. It would disable enemy exosuits for a pretty substantial amount of time, which gave your team the chance to get a whole bunch of kills before their systems rebooted. Now, Advanced Warfare, it was a game that was super reliant on advanced movement. You had the bunny hopping, so if you took that away from one of the teams, they were going to be in trouble until it was given back to them. Plus, there was a variant of the system hack that threw that huge skull on your screen, which was beyond annoying. I think they may have dumbed that down or patched it after a while, but it was crazy when it was up. Black Ops 3. I'm going to go with the Wraith. No, we're not going with the Mothership. This was the Black Ops 3 replacement for the Stealth Chopper. Might honestly be one of the best aerial streaks in COD history. It wasn't hard to earn. I think it cost you 1,100 points. It would hover around the battlefield. It would mow down anybody it saw. It had a ton of health. It required 3 rockets to shoot it down. I mean, it would frequently get you 10 kills or more. It was amazing at locking down entire sections of the map. I love this thing. We've had a lot of aerial streaks, especially AI-operated aerial streaks in COD history, but I'm having a hard time thinking of one that was more consistent and more devastating than this one. You guys fact check me on that. Let me know in the comments. Infinite Warfare. The Warden. I like the name. The Warden was basically just the Infinite Warfare version of the Wraith, but it was less cool. Mid-tier streak, AI-controlled ship, hover around the battlefield, unload on enemy players it saw, which made it pretty helpful in most scenarios. It was a solid set it and forget it kind of streak that would usually get you probably 5 to 6 kills at any time you called it in. I mean, it was helpful in modes like Dom and Hardpoint. It would basically lock down the objective for your team and serve as an extra set of hands. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can't recall a lot of streaks from Infinite Warfare. I am blanking out on streaks from that game. I don't know why that is. Really, damn. Okay. COD World War II. The Mortar Strike. This was the COD World War II equivalent of the classic Lightning Strike. Who remembers the Lightning Strike from Black Ops 2? It was just as effective here as it was in Black Ops 2 and 3. You only had to grind for 750 points to earn it, and then it would let you mark 3 spots on the map. Then that would quickly get bombarded with airstrikes, and it would kill anybody in the radius. I think the Mortar Strike was a perfect streak for quickly establishing dominance over a certain section of the map. You could easily get 2 to 4 kills in return for using it, and you could turn the tide of a match. If you're playing Hardpoint or you're playing Domination, the Mortar Strike, it could literally change a map and flip it, or a match and flip it on its head. Black Ops 4. Sniper's Nest. For 1,050 points. The sniper's nest would give you a pair of flying snipers that would roam around the map, and they would instantly headshot anybody in their sights. I mean, we've had plenty of helicopter-based streaks before, but those use machine guns, so you could at least try to get out of the way of their shots once they open fire. But the sniper's nest would instantly drop whoever they fired at. It made them virtually impossible to avoid. So for that 1,050 points, the sniper's nest was not only going to make the entire enemy team run for cover, it was also going to get you 10 to 15 kills easily. 10 to 15 kills. I think it was the best streak in the game. Now, honestly, there's been arguments in the past when we've mentioned this on whether it was overpowered or not. I lean toward yes, it was. Modern Warfare 2019. The VTOL jet. This was the new version of the classic Modern Warfare 2 Harrier Strike. Obviously one of the best streaks in the game. Heck, for the amount of kills it would get you and how cheap it was to earn, I'm calling it the best in the game. For 8 kills, you would get to mark a spot on the map that would get blasted by a fighter jet. But then the fighter jet would do a little lap and it would come back to the spot you marked again, hover over it for about a minute, and continue to gun down anybody that got too close. The 8 kills it cost to earn would easily be returned to you and then some, and it was great for holding down an objective or locking down an entire area of the map. This was one of the most popular streaks in the game for good reason. I mean, there was some other streaks in the game, but I've got to go with the VTOL. Black Ops Cold War, the War Machine. Now, the streaks in the game were a little hard to rank because the weird point and cooldown systems that Treyarch decided to use in this game, but I would say the most popular streak in the game was the War Machine. I think it was justified because when you weigh out the required score to earn, plus the return on investment, plus the length of cooldown after you called it in, I think it was overall the best one to have on your class. Plus, War Machine, it was really, really strong in this game. Usually killed whoever it touched with 1 to 2 grenades, and since you had a great fire rate with some really good ammo capacity and blast radius was pretty generous, I think it was worth it. Yes, it got annoying to go up against, but that's not what this list is about. Call of Duty Vanguard. The Death Machine. Now, it was usually just a Black Ops streak, so it was a little weird to see it come into COD Vanguard, but the amount of damage you could do and how easy it was to earn, I was okay with it after a while. I mean, the Death Machine only cost 7 kills in the game. You could easily get all 7 of those kills back, plus a little extra for good measure if you wanted to, and besides, everyone loves running around the battlefield with a giant minigun. Even in a poor game like Call of Duty Vanguard, it's objectively cool, no matter which game you're playing, so yeah. Modern Warfare 2 2022, the cluster mine. I think this is by far one of the most annoying cheap streaks in COD history. The cluster mine would only cost you 5 kills. Once you threw it on the ground, it would booby trap a large section of the floor. Then, if some unsuspecting Timmy walked into the radius, they would explode. But the kicker was the fact that it was really hard to see the booby trap before it was too late, and the mines were spread out far enough that you would usually get 3 to 4 uses out of it. So one deployment of the cluster mines would typically get you between 2 and 4 kills in return on average. And since they were super cheap, you could get them literally 5 to 6 times a match and constantly be booby trapping the map into some really annoying places. They were definitely one of the most hated streaks in COD history, but we can't deny how effective they were. That's why they were so hated. So yeah, we got to show them some love, unfortunately. Modern Warfare 3 2023, the IMS. Now, I do not love that Sledgehammer brought back one of the most annoying streaks in COD history in this game, but once again, we cannot deny how effective it was. The IMS is a streak that would let you place on the ground, anywhere. Then whenever somebody got within a certain radius, it would make that big noise and it would shoot an explosive at them, which, honestly, it almost always killed them instantly, and sometimes even killed a second person with the splash damage in the radius. It was annoying. It was annoying because of how hard it was to see before it was too late and how effective it was at completely locking down an entire section of the map. But for how cheap it was and how many kills you got in return, I had to put it here. It may have been annoying to get killed by, but you knew how strong it was. And I'm trying to remember what Call of Duty had the first IMS. Was it Modern Warfare 3? I think it was. And then we would just drop prone and yeah. And finally, Black Ops 6. I'm going to go with the Hellstorm. A lot of people seem to think the score streaks were underwhelming in this game. I generally agree with that, but it is hard to go wrong with the classics, and I think the Hellstorm missile was just as good here as it was in most of the other appearances in Call of Duty. Relatively cheap, came into the battlefield relatively quickly. If you were good at controlling missile in flight, you could get 2 to 4 kills with it every time. You could clear out an entire section of the map in the process. I think I said in a recent video that I didn't think Black Ops 6 had any real good standout streaks, and I do think that does hold true, but at least there were some good old-fashioned reliable ones in the mix like this. there you have it, my friends. Moving forward, we will be including Black Ops 7 on all of these types of lists. And I hear you. I hear your comments. I hear your request. We will also start including COD Mobile on these types of lists as well. We didn't today, but I will moving forward. I see you COD Mobile fans. It's time to consistently show you guys some love. Hope you guys have a great day. Let me know what you're thinking of Black Ops 7 if you're in New Zealand, and I'll see you soon.